Hi, I'm Vera. After 43 years of raising kids, building a career as a nurse, and finally retiring, I never expected to be sitting in my best friend Donna's guest room, surrounded by hastily packed boxes and a lifetime of regrets. You still haven't answered any of his calls? Donna asked, placing a cup of tea on the nightstand next to me. 35 missed calls in 3 days, Donna. 35, and I'm not answering a single one. I scrolled through my phone, showing her the endless notifications. I still can't believe Jason did this to you. His own mother, after everything you've done for that boy. Donna shook her head, her silver-streaked hair swaying with indignation. Well, believe it. My own son thought it was perfectly reasonable to charge his recently widowed mother $2,200 a month to live in the basement of his house. The basement, with a hot plate and a mini fridge? My voice cracked despite my efforts to stay composed. But he invited you to move in after Richard passed. He said he wanted to help you. Donna sat beside me, her brow furrowed in confusion. That's what I thought too. When he suggested I sell my house and move in with them after Richard died, it seemed like such a blessing. No more property taxes, no more maintenance, and I'd be close to the grandkids. I took a sip of tea, grimacing at the bitterness. Then last month, he sits me down for a family meeting with his wife, Monica. The one with the ridiculous designer handbags? The very same. She sat there with this spreadsheet, explaining how market rate for a one-bedroom apartment in their neighborhood is $2,200. Jason nodded along like it was the most reasonable thing in the world, saying they needed to protect their investment. Donna gasped. But you gave them half the down payment for that house, from your savings. $100,000, and apparently that counts for nothing now. I set my cup down with a shaking hand. You know what the worst part is? My Social Security is only $1,600 a month. When I pointed that out, Monica suggested I dip into my retirement savings to make up the difference. She didn't? Oh, she did. And Jason just sat there nodding along. I could still see his face, so similar to his father's but lacking all the warmth. That's when I realized what was happening. They were trying to drain me dry. The doorbell rang, interrupting our conversation. Donna excused herself to answer it. Vera, she called moments later. It's Sarah from your old neighborhood. Sarah rushed in, her normally neat appearance disheveled. Vera, I've been looking everywhere for you. Jason came by my house yesterday, frantic, asking if I knew where you'd gone. What did you tell him? I asked, tensing up. Nothing. I didn't know anything to tell. Sarah sat down, catching her breath. But Vera, he looked terrible. Said you disappeared without a word, that the family is worried sick. I laughed bitterly. Worried sick about their meal ticket, more like. What happened? One day you're in your little basement apartment, the next your car's gone and so are you. What happened is I finally woke up, I said, pulling out my phone and showing her a text exchange. Read this. It's between Jason and Monica from 3 weeks ago. He accidentally sent it to me instead of her. Sarah squinted at the screen, reading aloud. Mom's retirement account statements came in the mail. Almost $340,000. If we keep her here paying market rate, that money becomes our inheritance sooner rather than later. Sarah's eyes widened in horror. Oh my God, Vera. That's when everything clicked. The market rate rent, the constant comments about how I should treat them to dinner, the suggestions that I help pay for the kids' private school. I took the phone back, my jaw set. So I made my own plans. And now I'm going to make sure my son learns a valuable lesson about treating family like an ATM. You should have seen his face when I handed him this, I said, sliding a document across the coffee table to my former colleague and longtime friend, Marcus. As a paralegal with 30 years of experience, he'd been my first call after finding that text. Marcus adjusted his reading glasses and whistled low. A formal demand letter for the return of the $100,000 gift, reclassified as a loan. Vera, you don't mess around. The money was clearly given under false pretenses, said Ellen, Marcus's wife and my former supervisor from the hospital. He invited you to live with them as family, not as a cash cow tenant. Exactly, I replied. pouring more coffee. And I've got documentation proving my contribution to their house purchase was contingent on having a place to live long-term at minimal cost. What did Jason say when you served him with this? Marcus asked, flipping through the pages. I didn't give him a chance to say anything. I packed my essentials while they were at work, left the letter on the kitchen table, and was gone before they got home. I couldn't help the small smile forming. The first 15 missed calls came within an hour of him finding it. So where do things stand legally? Ellen asked. Marcus leaned forward. Based on these emails and the text messages, we have a strong case for elder financial exploitation. The sudden rent increase to an amount they knew exceeded your income. After encouraging you to sell your home, it shows clear intent. I just can't believe Jason would do this, said Patricia, my sister-in-law, who had joined us. Richard would be heartbroken. Richard didn't raise him to be this way, I said firmly. This is all Monica's influence. She's been pushing him to maximize their assets since they got married. That doesn't excuse him, Patricia replied sharply. He's a grown man who tried to fleece his own mother. The doorbell rang again. Ellen went to answer it, returning with a tense expression. Vera, it's Jason. My heart hammered in my chest. I'm not ready to see him. You don't have to, Marcus assured me. But it might be good to hear what he has to say with witnesses present. After a moment's consideration, I nodded. Ellen showed Jason in. He looked terrible, unshaven, hair unkempt, eyes red-rimmed. Mom, thank God, I've been worried sick. Have you been worried about me or about your inheritance? I asked coldly. Jason flinched. Mom, this is all a huge misunderstanding. That text, it wasn't what it looked like. Then what was it, Jason? Explain to me how that money becomes our inheritance sooner rather than later could possibly mean anything else. Monica and I were discussing financial planning, that's all. Financial planning that involved charging your mother more than her entire monthly income in rent? Patricia interjected. Jason's eyes darted to her, then back to me. The rent was Monica's idea. She said we needed to... Stop right there, I interrupted. Don't you dare blame your wife for your decisions. You're my son. You sat there and watched me explain that I couldn't afford it, and you still insisted. We can work something out, he pleaded. Come home and we'll figure it out. That's not my home anymore, Jason. And I'm not coming back. But where will you go? What will you do? I've already found a lovely senior apartment. 1 bedroom, full kitchen, activities program, all for $850 a month. And I'll be able to afford it because you're going to return my $100,000. Mom, we can't just... The money is tied up in the house. Then you'd better figure it out, Marcus interjected. Because the alternative is facing elder abuse charges and a civil lawsuit that will cost you a lot more. Jason's face paled. You wouldn't do that to your own son. I looked him straight in the eye. My son wouldn't have done this to his own mother. A week later, I sat in a small conference room at the Elder Justice Center with Marcus beside me and Jason across the table with his attorney, a nervous young man named Kevin, who kept adjusting his tie. Let's be reasonable here, Kevin began, spreading his hands. This is a family matter that's gotten out of hand. I'm sure we can resolve this without formal legal proceedings. I agree, Marcus replied calmly. Mrs. Harrison is prepared to settle this matter today, provided the full $100,000 is returned, with interest and a formal apology is issued. Jason leaned forward. Mom, please. This is crazy. We're family. Family doesn't exploit family, Jason, I replied evenly. Family doesn't try to drain an elderly widow's retirement savings. That's not what was happening, Jason protested. Monica and I were just trying to... To what? I interrupted. To charge your mother more than her entire monthly income for a basement room? To accelerate your inheritance by forcing me to deplete my savings? The text was taken out of context, he insisted. I was just... Here's the context, Jason, I cut in, pulling out a folder. Bank statements showing I paid for half the down payment on your house. Emails where you promised I'd always have a place to live. Text messages where you encouraged me to sell my house because I'd save so much money living with you. Kevin leaned over to whisper something to Jason, who shook his head stubbornly. Mrs. Harrison, Kevin began again. My client acknowledges there was a misunderstanding about financial arrangements, but characterizing this as elder abuse is excessive. Mr. Harrison loves his mother and— Let me stop you right there, Marcus interrupted. We've already filed a report with Adult Protective Services. Their investigator found sufficient evidence to proceed with a case. If we don't reach an agreement today, Mrs. Harrison will be pressing formal charges. Jason's face crumpled. Mom, you can't be serious. This would ruin me. My career. My reputation. You should have thought of that before you tried to bleed me dry, I replied, my voice surprisingly steady despite the pain tearing at my heart. I worked 40 years as a nurse. I saved every penny I could. That money was supposed to see me through my old age and leave something for my grandchildren's education, not to fund your and Monica's lifestyle. Monica had nothing to do with this. It was all my idea, Jason blurted out. The room fell silent. I stared at my son, truly seeing him for the first time. Then that makes this even worse, I finally said. Jason's shoulders slumped. What do you want from me? I want my money back. I want a formal, written apology. And I want you to look me in the eye and admit what you tried to do. And if I do all that, then what? We go back to being mother and son like nothing happened? I shook my head slowly. No, Jason, we don't. That relationship is damaged, perhaps beyond repair. What happens next depends entirely on your actions going forward. Jason looked to his lawyer, who nodded grimly. Fine, Jason said, his voice hollow. You'll get your money back, and your apology. There's one more thing, I added. I want you to attend financial counseling and ethics training. I need to know this won't happen to anyone else, especially not your own children someday. Jason's eyes flashed with anger, then dimmed to resignation. Is that all? For now, I replied, gathering my things. The paperwork will be ready tomorrow. And Jason, don't call me again unless it's to tell me the money has been transferred. You look 10 years younger, Donna said as she helped me arrange pictures on the wall of my new apartment. Sunlight streamed through the windows of the senior living community I'd moved into. I feel lighter, I admitted, hanging a family photo from years ago. Though I still have moments where I can't believe any of this happened. Have you heard from him since the settlement? Patricia asked, unpacking kitchen items. He sent a text when the money was transferred. That's it. I didn't mention the deleted voicemails. The doorbell rang. I opened it to find Marcus with champagne and a folder. It's official, he announced. The case is closed. Jason completed the financial ethics course and counseling sessions. That calls for a celebration, Donna declared, fetching glasses. As Marcus poured, my phone buzzed. Jason, can we talk, please? Is that him? Ellen asked, noting my expression. I nodded, showing them the message. Are you going to respond? Patricia asked gently. Not today, I said, putting the phone away. Maybe someday, but not today. To new beginnings, Marcus proposed, raising his glass. And to standing your ground, Ellen added. Later, I sat on my balcony when Barbara, my new neighbor, leaned over from hers. Everything okay, Vera? You look deep in thought. Just reflecting on how quickly life can change, I replied. 4 months ago, I was living in my son's basement, feeling trapped. Now I'm here with my savings intact and my dignity restored. Family troubles? She asked perceptively. My son tried to take advantage of me financially after my husband died. I had to take legal action. Barbara nodded. My daughter tried something similar. We haven't spoken in 2 years. Sometimes I miss her, but I don't miss being treated like an ATM. My phone buzzed with another text from Jason. Mom, I'm truly sorry. I want to make amends, on your terms, whenever you're ready. Will you ever reconcile with your daughter? I asked Barbara. I don't know. Maybe if she showed real understanding of what she did wrong. But I'll never trust her with my finances again. I looked at Jason's text. For the first time, it didn't sound like he was just sorry he got caught. The thing is, I said finally, some lessons cost more than money. Jason lost my trust, and that's a currency not easily replenished. I put the phone down without responding and turned my face to the setting sun. Whatever relationship might be possible with Jason in the future, I would never again allow anyone, family or not, to make me feel small or powerless. That lesson was worth every penny. Have you ever had to stand up to family members who tried to take advantage of you? What would you have done in Vera's shoes?